Hey, praise team. Mark Bird is a guitar player and a songwriter. Years ago, he wrote a song called God of Wonders, and we sang it in church. Do you remember this? God of wonders beyond our galaxy, you are holy. You remember this? Recently, I heard him in a podcast interview, and he spoke very transparently and a little crudely about his life, about his recent struggles with alcoholism, even just some questioning of whether or not God exists. And he said something that I thought was really good, and I just wanted to pass it on to you. He said, musicians don't need to be told they're special, but that they belong to a community. What he's saying is that many musicians tend to lean towards isolationism, where they know that they're just a little bit different than most people. They think about things differently. They see things differently. They respond to life a little bit differently. And they don't need to be celebrated for those differences as much as they need to be reminded they're part of a community. They belong. You belong. And I tend to agree with Mark on this. We must always be guarded from the things that keep us isolated from others, whether that's allowing discouragement to settle too deeply into our hearts, or even allowing praise to puff us up a little too much. Proverbs 27:21 says, "The crucible is for silver, and the furnace is for gold, and a man is tested by his praise." We're tested by our praise. We're tested when people praise us for the things that we do. We're tempted to believe that we're better than others. And this kind of comparison is never good. Chip Ingram says it this way: comparison always leads to carnality. In other words, if I compare myself to somebody else and I think that I'm better than them, well, then that will lead to pride and the puffing up of my ego. If I look at someone else and I think that they're better than me, then that can lead to a misunderstood view of the way that God sees both of us. And that's why we need one another. That's why we need community. That's why we need to be reminded that we belong. The bottom line is this: no matter your role on the team, we are all equally important to God. Making sure that the people of God are led in praise. Every part matters. Whether you're up front leading out, or you're up front in a more supportive role, or even just behind the scenes where no one can even see you, you belong to the whole. Look, I know this team is not perfect, but it is a team. It is a community. So we're going to treat it that way. We're going to pray for one another. We're going to encourage one another. We're going to love one another. We're going to honor one another. We're going to correct one another. And we will fortify the values that hold us together. And we will tear down the things that keep us apart. So if you're feeling isolated or even a little discouraged during this time, I pray that you would be reminded that you are part of the community. You are needed, you are appreciated, and you are responsible to see that others on the team are included and cared for. So let's be a true community that helps one another be more like Jesus. Just a thought for you this week.